Hey everybody, I'm Kate Conroy,
And I'm Vinny Civitello.
and this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, the largest statewide business association in the country. We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout for those. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, and they are the official sponsor of the show, so check them out if you need some updated coverage.
Awesome. So just a couple of housekeeping matters before we get started. This podcast is available anywhere you can get a podcast. That's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon's Alexa, really anywhere. We also put them on YouTube in case you're not into that whole podcast thing. But if you are into that whole podcast thing and you find your way onto iTunes, we would totally love a 5-star review. Helps us get discovered by more awesome listeners just like you. So with all that out of the way, today from the New Jersey Elder Law Center is Clelia Pergola. Say hi. Let the audience hear your voice.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here today.
We are so happy to have you here today.
Yes.
I beat you to it.
You did. Beat me to it.
Enthusiasm.
Exactly. Okay, so today's icebreaker is, what are you currently binging? And I usually say that this doesn't have to be TV. It can be any fiction of any kind, books, movies, although Tom Phillips did introduce food the last time he was on. So if you're binging cake right now or cake batter right now because it's COVID times and things are stressful, no judgment.
So I was afraid that you were going to judge me on mine, but now that you said that about food, I feel better. I'm binging Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh my God.
Yes. It's a
I didn't even know that was still on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say it's like 70 something seasons, 73 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother used to watch it, and you tend to take on what your parents took on, and I decided to take on Bold and the Beautiful.
Wow.
Luckily,
that was like
you can catch it very quickly because they're doing the same thing for like 4 weeks.
Is this something that you're like, is this a recent thing that you've gotten into, or have you always been into Bold and the Beautiful?
So I was into Bold and the Beautiful when towards the end of her life when she had Alzheimer's. So I thought I could connect with her more by watching Bold and the Beautiful. No, my grandmother.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't know when in the timeline that was. Yeah.
Although that might come into play, I'm not really sure.
You never know. I mean, with these soap operas, yeah. Okay, so go ahead. Sorry.
So then I had to catch up, and so I started binge watching the other seasons.
Are you home during COVID? Like, do you go into the office at all? Because I know they play these things during the day. I was going to ask you if it's kind of distracting.
I know. It's like, how much detail do I really want to admit about this? No. I go to the office at my business partner's home. So no, I don't watch it during the day. I do it at nighttime.
Fair enough.
That was my go-to in high school. Bold and the Beautiful and Young and the Restless were my go-tos when I was in high school. And I don't remember at what point I stopped watching, because you would think that in college it would be easier to watch because I could, like, if I wanted to, schedule my classes around when it airs. It was much harder to catch up on it in high school. I don't remember how I did that exactly. But yeah, it fell off my radar at some point, but I always think back fondly to all those characters.
Yeah, I would never judge. I'm into comic books and everything, and that's basically a soap opera. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true.
Do you collect them?
For the most part, I mean, not as much as I used to. Like I think I have pretty much everything I want, and now I just kind of read every so often. But yeah.
Can you get comic books at the library or on your Kindle? Like, do you have to buy? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact, that's why I don't really collect as much as I used to, because especially ever since I got the kid, there is enough stuff coming into this house. If I want to be entertained these days, I try to do that digitally. Just keep the flow of things coming into the house at a minimum.
I like how you say that, like you picked her up at Costco. Ever since I got the kid.
Ever since I got the kid, like ever since she strolled on through the door, like she owns the place. So yeah.
Oh my God.
So, hey, what have you been binging?
Shameless. It came out on season 10 came out on Netflix. I want to say back in like August or September, and there was just too much else going on elsewhere, you know, The Boys, and I don't even know what else. So, but I finally was like looking for something, and I was scrolling through the My List on Netflix, and I stumbled across it again, and I was like, oh, I never caught up on that. So I'm working my way, I think I'm on like season 8 now of Shameless, and it's not season 8, episode 8 of season 10, sorry. And it's okay. I feel like they hit their stride around season 5, 6, and it's not great anymore, but it's still good enough that I'm like, I'm entertained. It's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now
Years
it's like a
ago.
project.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
I
Exactly.
No, I was
have to
gonna say
come to
years ago I watched Smallville, and that show was amazing for seasons 1, 2, and 3. And it went on for 10 years, and it was like a nosedive after 5, and you just kept watching it because you're like, this has got to be the last year, right? Like, you know?
So like at the end of every season, they do this big change up, or this big, not cliffhanger, but shuffle the cards, and like by the end of episode 2 of the next season, everything is just sort of back where it was supposed to be. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, nothing has really changed. There's been no growth, there's been no learning, these characters are just not nice people.
It's kind of like Bold and the Beautiful.
Mm,
You can catch right up.
mm.
Yeah. Then what are you binging?
So I don't know how it got here, but there's like this giant tub of cookie dough that says right on the tub, like, you can eat this raw.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, first of all, that now we were allowed to eat it. Your whole life, the mantra has been like, look, you want to roll the dice, by all means, go ahead, but like, it's not good for you. Now they write it right on the thing, like, look, it's okay, we're not going to judge you. So I've been diving into that, but no, I've actually been binging. I've been playing this game, Rise of the Tomb Raider. If you've ever heard of the Tomb Raider franchise, this is like a 14-hour Indiana Jones movie, so it's been really cool. It's part of it. It's the second part of a trilogy. I played the first one like 5 years ago, and I kept saying, like, I'm gonna finish this thing at some point, and no time like COVID to do the things on your to-do list. So that's where I've been.
Yeah. Isn't that true?
There's like a finish line, like it's not like a Call of Duty thing where
No, yeah,
there's like,
it's a defined story. I can't play stuff like that. First of all, I'm terrible at them. Like, I jump into the game and I am dead within like a quarter of a second. And then you've got like 12-year-olds hovering over you, like waiting for you to come back to life just so they can kill you again. I'm like, no. So it's just me. I'm not online playing with anybody else. I'm just playing through the story. And then I just finished it, so maybe tomorrow, or I'll give it a week. I don't know. There was 5 years in between the last one. I'll jump into the third part. So yeah.
that's like the
Nice.
break. What's the movie? The Breakup, where he's playing with online with a kid and he's like telling the kid off.
Oh yeah.
That's just
No, that's real. Kids are savages. Okay.
so my son plays I don't know if I'm going to be rated as a bad mom right now, but I'll be willing to put it out there. So he plays Fortnite. He's 7. He can only play it for a certain amount of time. But anyway, I'm like, you're not in some strange world, right? Like, you're not, like, I make sure he's not like talking to people, but it's yeah, I know my son's one of those people.
You kind of walk by the door, you hear like a string of obscenities, and you're just like, hmm.
He's 7. I'm sure it's not like that.
Hmm.
No. He's
I don't know. I've
not.
never actually played Fortnite. I don't know whether or not you're able to talk to people. I assume you can, but I don't know.
You can, but parental controls. So I just
Ah.
got a hold of parental controls. I didn't even know like how detailed you could get. Like all of a sudden, so I figured out the parental controls, or I think I figured it out, although I turned some stuff on, let's put it that way. And then I gave him back the iPad and he's like, Mommy, Fortnite disappeared. I'm like, really? I
Oh
don't know
my.
how that
I didn't
happened.
know.
Get back to me. I'll have to look into that. And so apparently, like, I can like make it disappear at certain parts of the day, or if he goes like over hours. So I told him it's Apple monitoring him.
That's a big deal for them these days. Wow.
Unbelievable.
All right. Well, Clelia, tell us what you do at New Jersey Elder Law Center.
So I am the chief operating officer. So that basically means I helped start the firm with Eric Goldberg. He's the managing partner. And, my main mission is to help caregivers. I was a caregiver for 6 years for my grandparents, and mainly my grandmother, and she had Alzheimer's. And so I went through the whole gamut from, her declining to estate planning documents to Medicaid applications, and it's what we do. So I was lucky enough to design the firm and the processes after my experiences. So we're people, and the team works with the families to help guide them through a challenging time in life, and I'm really proud about that. Obviously, I'll work on business development and all the fun numbers that comes along with being running a business, but that's really where my heart and soul, my passion is.
Very cool. It's so neat. Neat, it's a terrible word, but I find it to be so rare that you can parlay a job like that can make you a living out of something that you feel like truly inspired and passionate about. That's really special.
What, you
Yeah,
don't?
people are watching.
I feel
I
completely
happen to love this
embarrassed.
show. That's all I'm gonna say.
Kate's gonna get a call later.
Yeah, right? No, Vinny's gonna get a call later.
Yeah, and I think, once, like, Vinny, I'm sure once you find that you're meant to do what you're doing and you find the right place, it's almost your mission naturally, subconsciously, to help others find that same passion. Like, I'm always talking to whether it be younger people or even older people, and they're just stuck in a rut. Like, they're just going to work and they may be great at their job, but it's not the same feeling, and I think that when you're passionate about what you do, it just shows in your work. Like, you don't have to be the smartest, you don't have to be the best, but if you really care about what you're doing, it just shines through.
True. It's true. And you got your start kind of being as a caregiver with your grandparents. That must have been hard.
Yeah, it was definitely. I birthed 2 children, and I think that I would do that hands down before I ever imagined how difficult it would be to be a caregiver. It's just, I don't want to say it's a thankless job, because you feel good about what you're doing, but at the same time, it's the what I could equate it to is like parenting, right? Like, my kids love me, but at times they hate me, and I don't know if I'm doing a good job. Like, I still have to, wait till they're 18 and they're productive, and they get married to see if my work's paying off. So and regardless about like the decisions that you're making, you're looking at someone that took care of you and like you looked up to in one way or another. They were an adult, they made decisions, they went to work, they took care of you, and now they've become a totally different person. You have to help them to the bathroom, you have to pay their bills, and it's a devastating time.
How have
I
things
can
been going? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that I can imagine that it's devastating for both parties. If they're still cognizant and lucid, it must be devastating for them to have to need help too. It's devastating for you, the caregiver, because it's such role reversal. But I'm guessing it's devastating for them for the same reason.
Yeah, and Eric, so he's the managing partner. I mean, he is the one that comes up with all the plans and gives the families their options as their loved one ages, and financially, legally. And what I saw was, it was great that we're process driven, not like most law firms, and we're proactive. But that's just like on the tangible side, let's say. But as far as, advocating, like he advocates obviously for his client, which is a senior. But for me, like I needed an advocate, and I wanted someone to talk to and just be able to tell them that I cursed out the person at the nursing home and it probably wasn't their fault. And so, that I think now that she's passed away and I've had a couple years to kind of settle into the whole idea of what happened, my mind has transitioned a little bit away from, the office and process. Now that I have an amazing team, they can take care of that, more to, okay, let's get the message out there that, the caregivers are the ones that are left behind with the memories and the decisions that we've made. So I want to be able to help them.
So Claudia, how long has the firm been in existence? This is such an amazing gift that you offer the universe, like I feel like I don't know of another law firm that does something so specific. How long has it been in existence? What kind of people do you help? Is it only like individuals? Do you ever like have relationships with other firms or with other, companies?
Yeah, I just want to let you know I'm going to need that clip because that just totally warms my heart.
Oh.
That's like testimonial. But so we've been in existence for, we're celebrating 10 years. And we work with other law firms, we're of counsel to other firms. And as far as, as far as other practice areas, and what we'll do is we'll also go we have relationships with different companies, all types of different companies, from marketing to accounting to geriatric care managers. And we'll go in and we'll do, lunch and learns, and we offer free consultations anyway. So I think it's just letting people know that it's free to have a conversation and find out what options you have. So we'll offer that to any company and put a program together. And it's all specific to that company.
That's great. How early is too early to start thinking about your own future as an older person? You know what I mean? Like if you're middle-aged and you don't, how soon is too soon?
Or even if you're a child that wants to, be prepared on behalf of.
Yeah.
So I would say it all depends. If your loved one has some sort of like diagnosis, like dementia or Parkinson's, or history of cancer in the family, it's never too early to plan. But typically, if everybody's well in their 70s, I think is the best age. We're living longer, so that's, I think, a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, estate planning is the foundation of elder law. So getting your powers of attorney, your healthcare directives, your wills, I think as soon as you start a family, most definitely, because you just want to make sure that you have guardians for your children. You just don't want infighting and anything to go wrong. God forbid something happens to you. So, and right now during COVID, I mean, estate planning has really become prevalent in households and in a conversation, which nobody ever talked about estate planning unless it was really you were older and you were in retirement. So I think it's great that people are taking the time to take care of themselves and their documents and their needs.
Yeah. I was just, I don't have kids, but I was just thinking about how in the state of New Jersey, if you don't have a legal document listing the guardians of your children, the state will just make the decision for you. Like even if you've got a verbal, like an email, something in writing but not official, it doesn't matter. The state will just be like, well, foster care, it's
Whoa.
terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions, and it's sad. And it's when it has to do with seniors too, I see a lot of people, I mean, I do too. I'm Italian, so of course we do it. Like we're like, oh, I got a guy, and my friends went through this, and they did that, and you just like do the at-home type of planning. Like, oh, I'll just put the house in my kid's name. Like, no, 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 that's not really how you plan. But and so, but you think you're doing the right thing, and so I think there's a lot of that going on, with the access to Google, and we're all like, with social media, we're all connected more. You see somebody on social media that goes through an experience, and then you message them, and then you talk about it, and then you think it applies to you. And I just think, you know what? Just there's so much free advice out there. I mean, you guys know, right? How many professionals do you guys talk to on a daily basis? Everybody's willing to have a conversation for free. And if they don't, you probably shouldn't work with them.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I like that. Wow. Okay. I think I'm all out of questions. I feel like you answered everything so well. Vinny, do you have anything?
No, actually, you asked mine, so I'm good.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to play a game. And we're back, and it is now time to play my favorite game, Awful or Awesome. I'm going to name 3 things, and we each have to decide if they're awful or awesome, and be prepared to defend your answers. Ready?
Ready.
First up is standardized tests. I'm going to say awful, because I did not do well on mine, and I ended up in remedial math in college, and I'm really good at math. Remedial math, because
I actually belonged in remedial math in college, so I was totally okay being there. But I'm gonna go awful because when I was in the 8th grade, we had to take a test to place into English and math in high school, and I had the flu, and there were some bad things going on in my life at the time. I was in a weird place, but the flu, I had a headache, I was nauseous and everything. I kind of blew off the test because it wasn't like this is gonna count towards your grade. And I wound up being both in like the honors program and the remedial one at the same time in 9th grade. All my teachers are trying to get me out of this because they're like, he doesn't belong in this lab thing, but it was a state mandate. Couldn't do anything. It's just like one day, one stupid test can have this, like for me, a huge time waster for the rest of the year. So awful.
Yeah, awful. Clelia?
I'm definitely going to say awful. I don't, it's so awful that I didn't even get into remedial math because I didn't even take a math class in college because I didn't finish college.
Oh
so
my God.
That's how awful it is.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're all on the same page, and I'm so glad that finally universities are starting to be like, yeah, we don't actually need the SATs. If you've got like a good GPA, you've got some good letters of recommendation, SATs, I mean, they shouldn't be as important as they have been up until now. So I'm glad.
Do you know if they did them last year?
Oh, I don't know.
I just mean because of COVID. Like, was everybody, because at that point everybody was remote.
No, I think they didn't count.
You're right.
Because they would have taken them around like May, June.
Right. They didn't count.
They didn't count.
Huh.
But you still, my problem is you still have to pass the tests when you're in college.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, some of us just don't learn in that type, or we learn, but we don't necessarily, I don't know.
You're not a test taker. Like, that just
We're
happens.
not test takers.
Yeah.
See, I was assuming, I went straight to like the big ticket ones, like the SATs, the HSPAs, all that. I didn't even think about your day-to-day test being in standardized format. I had a professor in college who had a crappy Scantron, and you would wind up getting like C's and D's on every test. So you would have to go into his office hours and go over the test with him, and he'd be like, well, see, the answer for this one was D, and you'd be like, oh, but I put D. And he'd be like, oh, okay, then that's correct. And you'd go through the whole test, and by the time you were done, you had an A. But like, it's just awful. Yeah.
At least you tried. I just figured if you put C's down the line, I was like, I'd get at least a D.
25%, right?
25%, yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm taking 2 courses on study.com right now. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a business course and a marketing course. And and I don't really know how this works because I'm going to transition the credits to a college for my BA, but they to make you take like a mini quiz to see where you place in the class, in this particular class. So I guess you get to like skip certain things. So I skipped a bunch. So I was like super happy about it. Well, then I got into the class and it was like, I still had like 9 chapters to go. And they're not 9 chapters like textbook chapters like back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They are like long, like in that one chapter, there's like 10 mini chapters. And then after every mini chapter, you have like a mini quiz. And they just keep telling me that I fail. And I'm like, but I know all of this other stuff. I can't be that
Oh,
stupid.
that's
So
awful.
It's like I passed the test.
Yeah. Oh my God. So one of these days, I think the awful or awesome has to be online learning, online education, virtual. Yeah, I don't even know what they call it, but it's like it's what everybody's doing right now. And I feel like it's got varying degrees of success and failure depending on what kind of a learner you are and whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert. And, all of that stuff. That's hard. That's hard.
that's hard.
All right. Well, on that happy note, we're going to move on. The next one in Awful or Awesome is movie releases in COVID. And by this, I mean, remember like back when we used to have movie releases with a red carpet and celebrities and in dresses and stuff, and now it's just straight to Netflix? Like such a letdown. But how else would they get the movie out, right?
It's like $30.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's too expensive.
Yeah, Mulan. My kids want Mulan. $30.
If you think about what you would have spent going to see Mulan in the theaters, like 2 kids plus you, popcorn, drinks. I don't know, like that could
But
rack
you
up
pay
pretty
for the
quickly too.
experience.
Yeah.
Like now
No,
I'm
you're
in my
totally right. Yeah.
pajamas. Okay, I bought my own popcorn. I'm
Yep.
probably gonna fall asleep because I'm on my couch, and I paid $3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is, because the right answer, I guess, that the studios have been taking is just not putting out most movies. I mean, Ghostbusters got delayed, Top Gun got delayed, the Black Widow, Wonder Woman, everything. It's all being delayed. James Bond.
How,
So yeah,
how long is that sustainable though? Because you know how
it's
like
really, really not.
right? Because I'm thinking
Yep.
each movie costs a certain amount to be made, and they hope to make that back in the box office.
Right.
I mean, the studio still has to like make payroll and keep the lights on and stuff. How are they? Yeah.
It's not even just making the money back on those individual films. Like the COVID kind of hit early spring, or let's say like
Yeah.
mid-spring, so
Yeah.
we missed the summer blockbuster period, and those
Right.
summer blockbusters are what kind of bankroll every movie that a studio makes. Like when you go to see something like Parasite, Bombshell, Judy, those movies are not made to make like Avengers Endgame money. Avengers Endgame
Right.
bankrolls the studio so that they can
Sure.
make things that are more artistic. And then it goes the same way for the movie theaters themselves. I mean, like an Avengers Endgame is supposed to, kind of be your Black Friday and get you through like, the
Slow
slower
time.
months.
Yeah.
As we filmed this yesterday, the movie theater I've been going to for 20 years, AMC Hamilton 24 in Trenton closed permanently, and as of today when we film this, Regal Cinemas announced that they're closing all their theaters in America because they were waiting on Bond. They were kind of putting all their cards on that James Bond table, and as soon as MGM said, yeah, we can't put out Bond now, they were like, well, then we have no reason to stay open. So
All of the Regals,
So
all of them in
sad.
America?
yeah, I think at this point they were down to just New York and California anyway, but yeah.
God.
And I'm getting the impression that that might not be permanent. It might be like hopefully just until this whole COVID thing goes
Well,
away.
it could
But
be
at
so
this
they
point,
don't
I
have
don't
to
know
pay
when that's going
rent.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they leasing their properties? Because that would make sense.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, but it could be a good time for Blockbuster to come back.
Blockbuster Video. Yeah.
Remember, like the new movies came out on like Tuesday, and you
Yeah.
go, oh, so much fun. You could only take
Right.
out 3.
Right.
Oh,
That was for your benefit, because God forbid you be like 10 hours late. You know, those three movies would rack up pretty quickly in late fees.
Yeah.
And
You
do
know
you
what? The
remember?
business model probably could have sustained if they let me take out 10.
There you
Maybe.
go.
Do you remember like needing to get there on a Friday night by like 4 o'clock? Because if you weren't there early on a Friday, all the good stuff would be gone and you'd be left with like some 5-year-old, I don't even know what, you know.
And then the new movies were always like, as soon as you walked in on the left, and there was like
Yeah.
yellow around it or orange, something of that sort. Yeah.
I
Oh,
wouldn't
Yeah.
think there was
I
this
love
much
Blockbuster.
nostalgia for Blockbuster.
God, I know. And the
I
row
mean,
of
it's like,
candy. The row of candy that you had to walk past to get, oh my God, I could never pass up the lemon heads. I would always get like the jumbo box of like lemon heads. I don't know
like
how
fun
it's.
for
What
kids.
makes me think, you know, like we lost Blockbuster at some point, and now we're losing our movie theaters. This is going beyond losing businesses. We're losing our culture, and you know that's really upsetting to me on a deep level, especially as a movie fan.
I want to mock you for assigning culture to Blockbuster, but I
No,
know how important
I'm not going to allow that.
Okay, fine.
It's so true, though. I mean, we have, what is it, red box or
Redbox.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's just like
fine.
not the same.
No.
No.
Well, you were just saying like it's just not the same in general. Paying $30 to see Mulan in your house? I mean, Redbox is obviously far less expensive than that, but even still, it's the same idea. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Like I can't even really think of like great movies that have come out this year. If we hold the Oscars today, I think Onward wins. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
That was so, oh my gosh, with two
Was it
boys.
though? No, I cried like a baby. I'm not gonna say it was a bad movie. I'm just saying any other year, Pixar is not walking away with this thing.
All right.
So, how about
Kate's
Outpost?
giving us a look because Kate spent like 10 minutes watching that movie, turned it off. She was done.
I got through 10 minutes of it and I was like, this is crap. I need to like
Yeah.
go back, I guess. I'm being a Philistine. I need to go back.
And there's so many good things about it. I don't know, maybe.
I don't know. I
What about
did not care.
Do you guys watch Outpost?
No.
No, what's that?
Ooh, it's a war movie. It has some big names in it, and I forgot who. I'm not good with actors. But one of the main actors, like, something happens that doesn't happen in like any movie ever. I can't even say it. I can't ruin
No,
it.
I get you. It's kind of the Good Place effect. We talked about this on our last couple
Yeah.
episodes. You know, you want to tell them, but if you do, you give away the whole thing, and then you know you just got to trust.
Yeah. Trust. Totally.
All right, I wrote it down. I wrote it
Kate,
down. I'll
what's the
check it
last
out.
one?
The last one is collections, and I don't mean this in like a business, like sending out invoices kind of way. I mean, like, do you collect any, or collections in general, like collecting, like I collect teacups. I think they're fun. They're antique. They're all mismatched, and I enjoy drinking champagne out of them. They're lovely. It's wonderful. So
I've
I'm
come
gonna
to
say
learn that the
awesome.
mix matching thing is better because if one of them breaks, you know, you don't have to worry
Yeah,
about the whole set being, you know. Yeah.
totally,
But the
totally.
fact that you're drinking champagne out of tea, I mean, I think the teacups part is
Don't
cute.
judge.
The champagne and the
Listen,
tea.
it's COVID times. It's COVID times, okay? I do what I need to do.
More power to you. Now I know what to get you.
All right, so collections. I'm awesome. What do you guys think?
I think it's always nice to collect things, you know, like yeah. Like I said earlier, you know, I'm definitely in that digital place in my life now. So like my big movie collection has gone digital and I'm happier for it, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, Claudia?
So I unfortunately collect shoes and purses.
Oh, it's an
I
expensive
mean,
collection.
I mean, you
it's an
say
expensive
unfortunately. Why is it unfortunate?
because
Space?
it's no, I mean it's expensive, and I have two children. I have my shopping under control, though. I don't need we don't need to discuss this further. It's just
Okay.
it's a problem my husband sees.
I used to be with you. I used to do shoes. In fact, I have a whole photo album on my Facebook called Shoebox. And the way that I could justify it was that I wouldn't spend more than $40 on a pair of shoes. And so I was not buying, you know, red bottomed anything. They were all very Amazon-y, you know. But but they were really fun, and I loved how they added a little personality to every outfit. And I don't know, I feel that your shoe collection. I feel that.
Yeah, unfortunately, my shoe collection is not really being utilized right now. So that was kind of like my staple, where it was my shoes. I had all types of pretty colors and funky, and I just can't wear them anymore. So and I'm actually in denial, because I'm one of those people who go into my closet and they're just perfectly lined up in like color and size and depending on season, and I just don't want to sell them.
No,
I,
don't.
I,
COVID will end
no.
someday. Don't ever sell them. Oh my gosh.
Someday.
Someday.
Someday. I mean, that was meant to be optimistic, but
Vinny, how do you feel about shoes?
I'm going to give you the husband's perspective on this, let's say. I have something like 4 or 5 pairs of shoes. It's like, these are the black dress shoes, these are the sneakers, these are the sandals, these are the brown dress shoes. Like there's just like one in every category. And as one of them gets a little too, like ratty, whatever, we replace that with one similar to it. She, the wife, has many, 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 many shoes. I don't know if I would call it a collection per se, but they're everywhere. And I don't mind that she has lots of shoes. It's totally fine. As long as there is a time and a place for all of them. Like you say, you have them in your closet, lined up, perfectly nice, whatever. I'm tripping over shoes everywhere. And what sets me off is when somebody is like, and when I say somebody, I mean her, because it's not like my kid is walking around like, whatever.
somebody.
But when she says something like, hey, you have way too many shoes, or like, hey, like, and then I'm just like, me? So
Are we sure?
always be cool about it, and keep them kind of like in their own little area and be totally fine.
Oh my
So my
gosh.
husband takes off his shoes as soon as he walks in the door. So now my children have learned to take their shoes off as soon as they enter the door. And the problem is I'm the first one up very early in the morning at like 5:30, and I have tripped and gone headfirst into my front door, or walked in and like rushed in for something and tripped over their shoes. So I feel you.
See, that's and you were worried you were the one messing everybody up,
Nope.
I actually don't have a problem. I can't wait to tell him.
Not even. Not even.
All right, next up, we like to do a segment on the show where we ask for, advice that you would give to your younger self. So by all means, what do you got?
Oof. How much time do we have?
You have as much time as you want. This is a podcast.
I think taking education more seriously. I think that I was a little bit in denial and said, there are more important things going on, or distractions, or, I'll be fine. And I think that I should have had a lot more respect for teachers, and whether it be in the classroom or, paying attention, not throwing things against the wall.
You were one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
You were going to defend it, and you were like, yeah, you know what? Just better that I just come clean. Yeah.
I was going to do the high school thing where I blamed it on the football players, but if it wasn't me, I was surrounded by the people that did it, which means ultimately it comes back to me being the problem. And now I'm okay with admitting that.
Yeah, I was going to say, for what it's worth, chief operating officer of a company that you love and you're passionate about, I mean, you can't ask for much better than that, right? That being said, stay in school, absolutely.
I love it. It's true. Go ahead.
What would you guys say?
Oh, nobody ever turns that around
Nobody's
on us.
ever asked us that before.
As the moderators, we're allowed to pass.
Oh, come on.
I don't think the viewers would like that so much.
See, and I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes, podcast magic here. Not everything about this show is scripted. Very little of it is. But we do give our guests heads up on questions that might stump them. And what advice would you give to your younger self is absolutely one of them. So we were not prepared to come up with an answer. But if Kate has one, she can give it, and then you can ask me for it next time.
Yeah, but it's the thing that we've heard a lot, and that is to just chill out. It's all going to be fine. Stop being so worried about the little things, you know? And God, that's such a cliche. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. In the moment, it does not feel like small stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
We actually
really.
stopped asking the question for a while because that was the answer everyone gave. But we found during COVID, people had radically different answers to those questions, so we brought it back.
Radically
You
different,
know,
yeah.
I think COVID did exactly that, like made us realize that a lot of things are small stuff, and especially in the tri-state area, like we're so concerned about the shoes and the bags and like all those other things.
Yep.
And I think it's given us a chance to like go out and smell fresh air, even though we do it every day, like to actually pay attention and go for a walk and work in the garden, or work in the house. And so I think people have realized like what's really important. But it's so true. It's like anything like your parents or grandparents told you, and you're like, they don't know anything about life. And then all of a sudden, like you become, and you're like, don't sweat the small stuff. And you're like, God, that makes sense. That's genius.
It's true. I mean, we had our Women Business Leaders Forum. Well, we have it every year, but the year that Bobby Brown was our keynote, the thing that she said was, I wish that I could tell my younger self to just chill the hell out. Like, if it doesn't work out, maybe it wasn't supposed to work out. And if it does work out, then be fine with it. You know, I wish that I could take that sentiment now, because now in this moment on this day, I am, as we all are, just stressed out about so many things, and my brain just won't stop, whirling. I go to sleep at night and I'm like, okay, did I remember to do this? Did I remember blah, blah, and I wish that I could like dial it down.
I think I've reached this point. People ask me how I'm doing during COVID, and I usually say everybody's healthy, everybody's sane. Can't really ask for much more than that these days. And
Yeah,
right, it just brings you back down to what's important.
it's true.
Everybody's suffering with something, and it's like, in retrospect, like nobody has it worse than anyone else. Like,
Right.
yes, if you really want to compare, maybe somebody that's unemotional, but who's to say my small problem isn't just as painful as your big problem? Like, it's all, perspective. But I was there for the Bobby Brown one. That was amazing. And I will tell you, something that you should try is, because I have that problem where my mind goes, I think all women do, go outside, whether it's warm or cold, and like just have a couple minutes crazy to like look at trees, like look at the earth, and just be like centered. It's changed my life during COVID.
I've been doing that a lot, and it's been helping so much. And I've started meditating, and that's helped a lot as well. And during the times when I like literally can't sleep, I have a thing that I do. I recite a list in my head that I memorized a long time ago, and that just usually, if I force myself to concentrate on that, it just tires me out enough that I can like go to sleep. But you're right, nature is helpful, and the meditation is helpful. But
years ago, somebody told me that if you really can't get to sleep, just get up, do other stuff, and eventually you just kind of like knock out anyway. It beats tossing and turning in your bed. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
All right,
You can
Clelia,
sleep with a mask.
there's that too.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
I think
Check
that
in with Kate in a couple episodes, see if she's sleeping better.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Vinny, I think you would look really nice with like a mask, with like the ones
I've spent all 2020 in a mask, let me tell you.
with the pretty little long eyelashes on them.
I love
Yeah,
it.
those two. I mean, I've got a daughter and she's 3, so she just, she hands me things, I put them on. I don't say anything, I just do it.
By the way, I wanted to do a shout out to Clelia. You were actually a speaker at this past year's Women Business Leaders Forum. So you went from an audience member to a speaker to the stage this year, which was exciting for us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and anybody who wants to watch that, it's available on NJBIA's YouTube page, youtube.com/NJBIA.
There you go.
Anyway,
Clelia,
is there anything coming up you'd like to promote?
Just my caregiver. So I have a caregiver support group, and it's every 2 weeks. And like I said, it's not for us to talk about all the struggles that we go into being a caregiver, but it's just a no judgment zone for every caregiver that's out there. And so if people would like to join, they can go on njelc.com and you'll get all the information. It's every 2 weeks on a Monday at 10 a.m.
Cool.
Awesome.
And if people want to get a hold of you, take advantage of some of your services, how can they do that?
Again, they can either go on the website, they can call 973-228-1795. I'm on Instagram, all social media outlets, and at Clelia. God, there's so many handles. I just can't. It's either Clelia Pergola. Just put in Clelia. Like I said, I'm like Madonna. You don't really need the last name.
You're the only one.
Yeah, you'll find me. And as long as
Fair
I'm
enough.
awake, I'll answer you.
All right.
Nice. Fabulous. Okay, I think that's our
Thank
show.
you,
Thank
guys.
you
That's our
to,
show.
yeah, thank you. Thank you to our listeners, especially the subscribers. We really appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out. And finally, a big thank you to Clelia Pergola of the New Jersey Elder Law Center for joining us today. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. It was
Absolutely.
fun.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.